All right, everybody, let's go ahead and get this show on the road. I have about 5:31. We'll call this meeting to order for our quarterly properties and services committee. We'll start with introductions really quickly. And again, I'm George Mitchell, board chair.
Ben Kistner, Board Vice Chair.
Stu May, Board Treasurer.
Susan Borgmeyer, board member.
Debbie Pryor, board member.
Ed Van Haley, Board Member.
G. McNamara, staff.
Tom Holcomb, staff.
Shannon Maloney, Navarro staff.
Brandon Smiley, staff.
JD Bink, staff.
Tracy Mock, staff.
Robin Myers, staff.
Jillian Braun, staff.
Aaron Underwood, staff.
What else? Sliding here at the last minute, so we'll wait for them to get a chance to log in and introduce themselves. Mr. Hughes, you want to introduce yourself, please, to the group before we get started? Terrence, if you're speaking, we couldn't hear you. We do see you. How you doing? All right, let's go ahead and start off with Robin's report.
Did anybody have any questions regarding anything on the property report?
None.
Okay.
All right, then.
Guess that makes your report really easy.
So that's
All right, let's start off with let's go to Dot report first.
you want me to move to Dot?
Yep.
Oh. Can everybody see that?
I can hear you.
Yep.
All right, we'll go ahead and get through our first quarter information. If you want to go to the next slide, Robin. So first quarter, I know last year we had some struggles with this first one here, the road observations for safe driving practices. This year we were able to first quarter hit that 85%. I did up that target percent because I wanted to kind of push the limits and see if we could improve upon what we were doing last year towards the end of the year. But that objective there is just to supervisors perform the 2 observations per staff member assigned to them to ensure safe driving practices. The first month we kind of struggled because we had a supervisor leave, so we had to restructure the teams and supervisors had to adjust accordingly, but they finished strong and hit that one. This second objective here for monthly driver safety scorecard, that's a new objective and it kind of ties into the first one as well. But we use telematics, which we implemented last year, in October, late October, to kind of capture how drivers were actually how their behavior was behind the wheel. It's improved dramatically since we started putting that in. So that 78 was just kind of like a guess as what I kind of want to hit with it. Since the first of the year, that number is steadily increased. So it's kind of like a grade card for drivers. So we can coach and correct as we need to, along with those observations for the cameras. Passenger ride time, again, I've kind of pushed that percentage up a little bit from last year. But we didn't achieve that this year or this quarter because we added some passengers and routes in turn got a little longer and had to shuffle some people around. So with that, as you can see there, we added 17 new passengers, which, like I says, they're attributed to that percentage not being met. Reduced the number of vehicles. Shop staff did a pretty good job of keeping things up and going. The big reason for our 84% there not hitting 90 was the OEM side and the dealership side of things had a big back order on transmissions for our newer, I say our newer buses, our 2022 buses. So those were like 2, 3 weeks out of piece, and we had like 3 or 4, I think, go down. Um, Overall, though, they did a really good job of keeping things up and running for us. We didn't have to shut anything down because buses weren't available. Um, and this last one down here for route cancellations and uninterrupted services, last year there was some questions at the end of the year, um, as far as the number related, because a lot of people remember there was a lot more route cancellations than usual, or that was reported originally. So I went ahead and put in weather related cancellations as well as attendance related cancellations. So that's why this number looks a little off. Overall, first quarter, we shut down 4 days, which was 116 routes due to weather. However, with the attendance shutdowns, we only shut down 8, which was a 93% decrease compared to last year, first quarter. A lot of that went into the attendance policy was put in place, and then just holding staff accountable as it relates to that. So overall, first quarter, there's a lot of improvements over last year, and I like the way things are kind of looking to start this year moving forward.
Great.
Anyone have any questions for JD?
I do. I got a question, JD. Can you just real quick speak to, how much the differences in the new technology versus the old technology, how much better it is, how much, worse it is? You mentioned that, you're happy with the progression, but just a couple of highlights on the differences and, how much better it is than what the technology it was before.
Are you speaking to like the cameras and the telematics?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Yeah, so the camera systems, it just records basically. It didn't give us a lot of information as it related to like speeding events, seatbelt violations, harsh cornering, harsh braking, harsh acceleration. So with the Geo tab, that's where that other information there comes into play. So it's leaps and bounds above just having the camera system. So now we have two things: we can use the camera system and that telematics data and have conversations with staff to really improve how they're driving and limit our liability as it relates to their habits. So
Got it. That makes sense. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you very much, JD and Dot. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Oh, next up, let's go to COD.
Yeah, what happened? No. Where am I going? There we go.
So we ended up in the first quarter with an average enrollment of 687 individuals. We had 63 new intakes and started discharges in March. We did 100 discharges. We do 25 a week. We had a list of around 350-ish people that we had been attempting to contact. We gave a 5-month time span to get return contact to keep them enrolled in the program, and ended with that number of around 350 that did not return contact. So we began that discharge. We worked with the Kansas City Regional Office because they also participate in the discharge process. And we wanted to find something that worked for our office support team, my team, and KCRO. So we do 25 discharges a week of this list. So we did around 100 discharges during the first quarter. The 173 referrals, that is just our benefits referrals. So we had 173 referrals regarding Medicaid, Ticket to Work, or Social Security and disability. And you can go, I think, to the next slide, Robin. These are our first three performance objectives. These were all, except for the first one, new objectives for us for this year. Our first one was, again, to keep the Medicaid applications that need to be resubmitted under 25%. Resubmission may happen because there is an error in the initial application. It might need to be resubmitted because the family didn't get the information to us to get it submitted in the time frame in which we needed to, and so it had to be, the whole packet has to be redone again. Or it could be that they just aren't finding it, which happens unfortunately a lot. And so then it has to be resubmitted, and we track that to see how often that's happening. We were right at 25% for this quarter. Next two are new objectives. Referrals for resources to our community outreach navigators will be responded to within and completed within 30 days. We hit 96%. Some of those can't be completed because it's ongoing. So it may take more than the 30 days to help that person get the resources and supports that they're looking for. But we hit that target at 96%. And then individuals requesting assistance with completing the Medicaid application will work with the benefit specialist to have that submitted within 10 business days. That was 88%. Again, if the families are struggling to get some of the documentation that they need, it may run over the 10 business days, but we would like to be able to say that those are all completed within the 10 business days, and that target was hit at 88% for the quarter. Any questions?
Good job.
Thanks.
Thank you, everybody. And so, no other questions. We'll move on to training and agency relations.
George, I was finally going to be in last place this time, and you switched it up on us.
You know, yeah, gotta keep people on their toes. Gotta keep them popping.
So, we still have engagement from community needing to use our space for trainings. We had APSI and Impact come in. We also have had some recent requests to use our space for one of the providers would like to use training space for supervisor training, which is really nice to know that we can kind of help with that big stuff. We launched 2 leadership courses. One was organized and handled by Monet. One is handled by me, leadership, living up my leadership. And both are trained by Tammy. They've been really great, and we've had really good feedback from those, so that's been nice. We planned for Karen Harvey to come in for the conference, but alongside with that, we wanted her to help us get some trainers up and running for trauma-informed care. So we have, for next quarter, we have the 3 staff now trained, and they have the resources they need to be able to provide that training at ETOS. And we've got a few more that we are just starting to figure out, starting to decide how we want to go about providing those trainings. We've had 91 additional people this quarter compared to last year this quarter coming to training. So it's starting to uptick. And we'll just hopefully see that grow as we add classes. The trauma-informed care training will be impactful because since Lindy Willoughby's been gone, we've not been able to have it for our providers. And it was something that was really popular for them. We can go to the next. And this is just a look at our agency relations, working directly with our sheltered employment workshops. Just excited to see the wages for all of them, honestly. And the wages range anywhere from, I've heard up to $19 an hour for someone at Southeast. So this is just really impressive to see them bringing in work that brings more money to people, and just quality of day has gone up. So it's been really, really neat to see. Even like Ability KC has tried so hard. They really do have a lot of people that struggle to keep up, and they've done a lot with their OTs, getting people familiar with jobs and figuring out ways so that they can do jobs easier and accomplish more. So that's been wonderful. And just so from perspective, historically, I think we had just over 700 people in sheltered workshops when I started at ETOS, and we had 10 locations. So if that kind of gives you an idea compared to where we are now with shelter workshop service, and not that we needed to not have those services, we just have a lot of other services for people to choose from now, which is pretty amazing. You can go to the next slide. Okay, Robin. I had no idea that the music was actually going to play. Wow, that was really loud for me. I don't know about everyone else. So that was Blue Springs City Theater, and that's okay. I'll just speak about that for a second. That's fine. And they wanted to show us just some of the kiddos. They match up a mentor, a kiddo without a disability, with a child with a disability, and they learn the same lines, and they support each other through the process of learning, and then doing shows. So this that you're seeing now is our.
Can you see it?
Yes, I can. So if you scroll up just a little bit, we made a up, down, scroll down, sorry. We made a website that's just for our funded providers. The only way to get to it is through a link, which we're happy to share with anybody because it's there's no secrets on this page. It just allows for people to have all the forms that they need. That's not me, is it? That wasn't me, was it?
No, that was me.
Okay,
Sorry.
sorry.
No.
And then back to the other page. Okay. So it's got all the resources they need, the forms that they need to turn in. There's a lot of requirements that we have. And so this just gives them everything they need to work with us. We had 7 new providers this year, which is huge and much more than we've ever had. We wanted to make everything easily accessible for folks. And so Alex, Amy, and I've been working on getting this put together with Fervor and Laura. And at the bottom, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, this is, up a little bit, sorry. The 5 blocks that are there are all direct links right back to our website. But we wanted our providers to have a way to just go, I need more information about funding, and they could click on that, or training, and it would take them straight to the training page, board meetings, the things that they mostly ask us about, so that they would have direct connections to those things. So we're hoping that really helps. They haven't seen it yet, but we're getting ready to send the link out, hopefully in the next couple of days for them to access.
Great.
And then I had a couple other pictures, but maybe they didn't make it because I'm pokey at getting stuff in here, but I don't think it's there. It's okay. No biggie. It was just to share about our funded provider / ETOS partnership forums that we've been having. Started them last year, had one in January, then in March we had a provider fair. April had a provider fair, and it's just given all of our providers an opportunity to meet each other and get to know each other. And we've already seen some really cool things happening with people learning about each other's services and getting the people that they support involved in new and different services. And so that group is really just going to be working together to see what we can do for people in Jackson County and be more effective, efficient, all the good things to try to improve services for people. So just really excited about how that progresses. We'll see. That was it.
Perfect. Appreciate that. So who also was singing along with the music?
I don't think it was anybody here. I'm pretty sure it wasn't anyone in here.
Ah, oh well. People don't
Sorry.
appreciate the music. Oh, anyway. Anyone have any questions for Tracy?
Good stuff, Tracy.
Thank you.
All right, no other questions. Let's go ahead to TCM.
Gotta get this.
Alrighty.
Yeah, I think I may have to stop share and reshare again. Do. That. Can you guys see that?
Yep.
Yeah, that should work. It's not the full thing, so you can still see the side in presentation mode. But
Let me try and redo that then. Yeah, stop.
it's not a big deal. While Robin is looking at that, so TCM highlights. We on the average for the first quarter had 1,700 individuals enrolled, and that is slowly, consistently creeping up for us month to month. We're looking now at an average of about 1,730 people average. So that's a great thing. Intake and transfers in the first quarter were 52, and then discharges were 32. So we definitely have more coming in than we have coming out right now, which is great. Next slide. All right, so this is our first 3 performance objectives. So the first focus is on visits completed. So that's our phone calls, that's going out in the community, that's monitoring all the services, and that was 98%, and our target is 95%. Just for a little bit of perspective, we average between 950 visits to about 980 a month.
Wow.
So you're talking just a little under 3,000 a quarter.
Yeah.
So, and that looks different every time for every person. So it's a lot of monitoring, a lot of looking, and our SCs are out there doing a lot of contact with our community. Findings in our app system or IQMFD, that is 61%, but that is a large increase compared to where we ended last year. Last year, our average is 48%. So we, in our first quarter, have already gotten up to 61. So we're definitely seeing a huge improvement in this area, and it's continuing to go up for us. And then plans being submitted to the first, so that's getting out to the families, the individuals, the providers, that's at 92%. And that is, our typical goal is 90%. So we're exceeding in that area. So I'll also do the training for our internal training highlights. Our field training department, they like to show us kind of how they spend their time because they're all over. So 51% of their time is spent with SCs one-on-one, 30% of their time is spent with training and doing training prep, 6% of their time is supporting working with support coordination and COD. And then 3% of their time is with SC teams or with groups of people. And then 3% is spent with the agency as a whole. So that can look different on what kind of retrainings they're doing or stepping into other departments. We hit 100% in both of our areas for internal trainings. So new employees get all of their trainees completed 100%, and the new support coordinators complete orientation per DMH at 100%. Any questions?
Just real quick, Jillian. So on the slide 7,
Mhm.
obviously the one that's 61%. I know it's an improvement, but what's our barrier to stopping us getting from our goal?
So our barrier is essentially the way the outcome is written. So we've actually been digging into this since we kind of saw the trend last year, and we're not seeing a trend of SCs not doing it. It's they're unmet. So they're not marking if they did it or didn't do it or if it was needed at all. And those are automatically counted as incomplete and unmet. So it's not that they're doing it or not doing it, it's that they're not marking the box that we need them to mark. So it's not a huge trend when we're getting audited because they look into that. But when we're looking at it in a QA standpoint and they don't have that box and it's unknown, we're just automatically counting that as no. But
It's a
when if you
document,
could
so it's
pull
more
that
than a
out,
documentation issue.
correct,
So they're just not giving themselves credit for the work that they are or not doing.
correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Anyone have any other questions?
George, I was going to kind of clarify. Jillian's been working, and she can absolutely tell you way more detail than I'm going to say right now, but she's been working closely with the QA department regarding this specific performance objective. And Shannon Frederick has been really giving a lot more detail, and that's how Jillian was just telling why they've identified what the percentage is including and how they've identified that it is more of a documentation kind of error on the document that the SCs have to fill out. So Shannon's put a ton of work into it. Some of our reports that we get on a quarterly basis and that Jill meets with her on a regular basis can give a lot more detail around, sometimes the percentages are low because it's, sure, we had 900 some odd support monitorings complete, and we had one finding that month, and that SC forgot to check the box on that one finding. So then we didn't complete the performance objective, or we didn't meet it. So there's a lot of ins and outs of the detail around it. And this past quarter, Jill and Shannon have really dove into that and tried to identify. So some of the reports, again, internally, they're identifying all of that detail so that we really looked into it, identified it, and we look forward to making sure that we can write the objective a little bit better this next year.
No, I get it. I think sometimes we set these things up as far as goals, and then we either our eyes get too big when we set the goal, or then like what I was talking about earlier, we just are not documenting appropriately to give ourselves credit for what we're doing. So again, we'll continue to watch the trend as we go, and I know that sometimes it's painful to kind of reteach or unteach bad habits.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments, discussion?
George, we'll have 2 more categories left. As you remember from the last quarterly meeting, we have added QA, quality assurance / safety, and business plan.
Well, let's flip a coin and figure out, well, I'm already in the QA mode, so let's go ahead into QA.
It doesn't really matter because I'm doing them both.
All right.
Normally, Kristen would do this. You may have noticed that I'm not Kristen,
You're not.
but
We did notice.
but she asked me to touch on these areas. So item number 1 there is 47 plans were reviewed for the TCM average score of 91.1%. All of these numbers on this page are sort of in the norm. None of them are much higher or lower than what would have been expected. So item number 2 there, UR reviewed and submitted 338 UR packets and 24 Hope Waiver packets. We awarded 37 camp scholarships in the first quarter. There were a few additional that have been awarded in the second quarter as well. So that's not a final number, but about $11,000 awarded there in that first quarter. Item number 4, QA reviewed 2,441 log notes for TCM and COD, and 90% of them had 0 errors.
That's good.
Yeah. 83 phone call surveys. We got some great feedback on those. And then the item number 6 there, service stakeholder and external survey reported for TCM, COD, and DOT. And soon we are adding agency relations to the areas where we can get survey data. And then information from our safety coordinator. In the first quarter, we did some testing on fire extinguishers and emergency lights and replaced things as necessary. We did some emergency drills and did an internal inspection at 8508. They received an excellent score, which is a pretty high standard for our safety coordinator. So we're proud of that. And so I asked the question, what about the other buildings? And they were not up for inspection during the first quarter. So I don't have a report on the other buildings, but 8508 knocked things out of the park.
Good.
Good.
Good. Good. Good. Good.
But they are on a schedule to be taken care of, correct?
Absolutely.
Gotcha. Okay. Any other questions for QA or safety? Okay. Bring us home, Tom. Business plan.
Yeah, so we have the 5 goals that are related to the budget, and you'll see 4 of those are on target to be met. The first one is the support coordination activity goal. We measure that by looking at the value of SC services provided, both billed and unbilled, and subtract then the cost of what I refer to as mission costs, which is the costs of support coordination, excluding things related to property and excluding depreciation, bad debts. And you'll see our goal there is to do better than last year, which was the negative 300,000-ish number.
We did.
And so negative 75,000 would have been on target, and we're at minus 62 through the first quarter, so that's good. On the total expenses for the budget, if you divide it out, you'll see that we're really right at 25% of the budgeted expenses through the end of the first quarter. We have some expenses that get sort of front-loaded. I expect the first quarter to be higher than the second and third quarters, certainly. So I'm not worried about that. We're a hair under 25%, but I would expect that when we look at these numbers through the first 2 quarters, that we'll have more margin between the 50% of the budget and where we're actually at. The third goal there is the DOT Medicaid revenue, and you'll see that our revenue through the first 3 quarters if you were to annualize that, it would come out to about 900,000. We've budgeted for 750,000. So I'm not saying we're going to hit 900,000, but we're on pace to shatter that goal. On the administrative percentage of total expenses, the goal is 12%. So the 12.5 number that's in that 2026 goal column is an error. That's my fault. Should say 12.0. Last year was 12.5, and we're ratcheting it down. The 10.3% actual for the first quarter means that we're doing great in that area. That's partly because we're on budget for administrative expenses, and it's partly because the total operating expenses are so close to budget. The denominator, that fraction, is bigger than I thought it might be at this point. So I don't expect to be at 10.3 at the end of the year, but I do have a pretty good level of confidence that we'll be at 12 or under. And then the last of these goals, and the only one we're not on target for, is that we're looking at DOT overtime. The budget there is $100,000 for the year, 25,000 for a quarter, and we're at 31,000 through the first quarter.
Okay. Anyone have some questions for Tom? Right, hearing none. Is there any other questions, comments, criticisms, discussion?
If I could have a second to thank Susan for going to Paws and Pals with us yesterday and helping with outcomes. It was really fun to have her and just for her to see the program. And
It's a great day. It was great.
Thank you.
It was great. Enjoyed it.
We really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Great. Anything else? All right, seeing none, nothing left on the agenda to discuss. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Don't move.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Say they are riveted by the information. They want to stay. All right. We have a motion in a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? We'll see you guys next week. Take care, everybody.
Take care.
Thank you.
Stay dry.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.